Arab women stripped them of their tunics and their swords and lances. The soldiers lay naked in the sun. 2,000 years ago, I was here.
She was attacked
This
by
match
what
will
appears
not
to
be
be
postponed.
essentially a robot.
This man is not a hero, he's a criminal.
Hey everybody, it's your buddy Admiral Teag. I may have forgotten to tweet out that I'm live. Let your friends know I'm here. And with me today, I have a very special guest. Please welcome, for the first time, Northern English Bastard. Hello, sir. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be aboard, Admiral Teague. And how you doing, man?
I am outstanding. It's a beautiful day in New York. Hopefully, as YouTube starts to get the notification out there and beats the brush a little bit, people will figure out we're on. Thursday night, last night I was here. We talked a little about Taylor Sheridan stuff and other stuff, but I guess maybe a lot of my viewers might know you from the fact that I recommend you at the bottom of the page here. So you guys may be familiar with Northern English Bastard. He's a great YouTuber. He's got a great bass take, and he's given me some fun homework assignments. Among the other things we've done together was we had a really fun time going through almost all of Miami Vice. That was an interesting assignment, and it was something that I didn't realize was out there as deeply in pop culture as it ended up being. Like, that first Miami Vice thing went like kind of nano viral there, and people are still out there sort of, looking to be entertained that way, even though that show, like, we kind of saw the good and the bad. What was your impression looking back now at like what Miami Vice was, and were you even on this planet when that show debuted?
Oh, I was born in 1988, so it was already coming to an end by the time I was born. I'm more of a child of the 90s, so Miami Vice didn't really pique my interest until sometime later when I was just trying to watch some older shows. I was already watching like Magnum PI being repeated on ITV4, and even some of the old Kojaks, but I never got to see Miami Vice. And I think a few years ago, I got the box set. It was COVID, everyone was isolated. I just had a nice tax refund, so I thought, fuck it, I'll get the box set, watch them all. I just loved it. I just loved that show, and I could see why some people still, even newcomers, are discovering Miami Vice and how great it was, because people are just going back to older shows now, because new shows are just don't have that same kind of writing or that same sort of that personality. Miami Vice had personality, and it's very rare we were seeing a show that has that these days. Maybe except for Tires, but that was a good show. That's probably one of the best shows of this decade, in my opinion.
You know what? I got to agree with you on the Miami Vice part, where it's like, at the time, like, that season one is really weird and different from the rest of what they end up doing comparatively. And then we start moving into like a weird phase where for a year there it's just kind of a normal cop show, and we can't really get a handle on it. And then suddenly we've got this show where the people from what becomes the most successful ever like cop show, Law and Order, start partly writing it, and the show takes this strange turn that I don't know if they were able to navigate. It had a lot to do with the time they were on, didn't it? Like the first season is very close to a traditional cop show, closer to Kojak, with a dash of Magnum, but it's not really Magnum. I don't know how to explain it. What's your take on season 1 and what they're trying to do?
Well, you can really see they were sort of like found in the tone. Okay, they wanted to really, they could see the 80s was this decade that was really bringing a lot of new and probably a lot of new trends in as well to really distinguish it from the 60s and the 70s. You know, like and you know, the big pastel oversized suits, the pink shirts with the fucking, you know, shoes with no socks, that kind of thing. And so I thought, yeah, you can really see they're trying to find a way to capitalize on the 80s itself, and because they knew what kind of decade they were in. I would not be surprised. And the fact that I think you mentioned before that Miami wasn't really this big sort of like metropolitan city yet. It was still kind of coming into its own. I might be wrong though, but
no, you're right. I live in New York, and like most New Yorkers, and welcome to the people coming through the door. Tweet out that I'm live. Let people know we'll be here for like about 2 hours talking to Northern English. And you know what it was? Miami, Florida was people. You know, this is still like only at the edge of living memory. It's starting to pass out of what people associate with it, but there was a time, and it's a little before even my time, where Florida was not that habitable or enjoyable of a place because, like right now, it is actually the same weather as in Kuwait City or in Manaus, Brazil, which is in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. It's got a real feel heat index of 110 degrees every day. So one of the most hot, humid, uncomfortable places on the planet. And what really Disney making all this money all these years and having this huge park there, one of the reasons why they were just gifted a county-sized piece of American land was simply it was useless swampland that they then drained and built this park in. And for the most part, like they can fill it year round. Like Florida, though, only habitable with technology, only has enough infrastructure to get around for like maybe 2 generations. It's you could tell that Miami was going to be the primary city of Florida, but it wasn't its capital or its largest city at the time the show started. I'm pretty sure that it was not the largest city. Tampa was still larger, and Orlando was of a comparable size, but Miami had a little more in the way of location and a little more in the way of being scenic. And a common Florida problem it didn't have, it was you could build there without having to worry too much. There's a lot of like just unsuitable ground in Florida. Hello, Jason Love.
Yeah, because I think I remember in Miami Vice they were like painting a lot of areas or building a lot of new stuff in that area as well to sort of like give it some kind of like scenery, and if anything didn't look or suit the aesthetic that they wanted to get for the look, you know, they would repaint it. So yeah, the show definitely did. Yeah, the show really probably was the reason why Miami looks a lot more like it did since the 80s anyway. So, but it's just something about that show as well. I mean, it can be a little bit ridiculous. It can be gritty. It can be funny. It can be glamorous. It can be really emotional and heartbreaking and nihilistic when it needs to be as well. Like the good guys don't always win, and I like that. I like that kind of reality.
You know what was great was the show, as we said, like you said, they were very aware of the year they were in. I think maybe also they had a huge hand in authoring it, right? As this hit cop show, with this really handsome, charming guy, as we've said, like some of these episodes, what's going on? And like the only thing we could come up with is, you know, Don Johnson's just so damn charming. It powered me through this episode. It probably powered a lot of other people through it too. You know, and of course the ladies have something to look at because he's considered super handsome. So,
oh yeah, I'm a fucking straight guy. Even I found Don Johnson in his 80s heyday handsome. It's like
it's kind of a little bit of a pretty man. But they had that one scene where he hooks up with the chick in New York, and they're in bed together, and the camera pans up their backs.
Yeah,
I'm like,
because he looks very.
Which
feminine,
one's which?
he's like-
Which one's which? And they're laying face down in bed, and they both have bleach blonde mullets, and then like one of them finally turns their head and like, okay, that's Sonny. And he's portrayed as, the show was a little bit at odds with itself until that third season where Wolf comes in and starts like, a lot of people say that he destroyed the show and made it jump the shark. I think what happened was the show wasn't broken, but it had some room for improvement, and they tried to improve it, and it was a little soon, and it was a tonal shift for what they had. Because remember, when we watched season 2, hello, Lombardi 1969, it's great to see people coming through the door. When we watched season 2 of Miami Vice, the show had started to find its way. Because I think in season 1 we don't have as much of the really cool clothes till like the middle. Don Johnson he's got boat shoes, but he's got like jeans, and he thinks he's a cowboy still a little bit. He's got his blazer. But what I call the Ice Cream Man of Vengeance shows up in like season 3. And it's amazing that he's able to play these very, very serious moments when he is just in an all-white Ice Cream Man of Vengeance with a very unpolice-like gun, isn't it?
I know, it's like it kind of gives it that personality, because when you get the 2006 remake movie version, it's a lot more serious, and it just lacks that. It just lacks that sort of like, well, I've said the word already, personality, because that's what the show had, personality. The movie
It didn't have Don, yeah. It might have needed Don to work at all.
Yeah, this is why I think Joseph Krasinski could improve on what Michael Mann tried to do in 2006, because I'm hearing he's going to be setting it in the mid-80s. So, yeah, you got to have that. You got to have Sonny and Crockett in those pastel suits.
Very smart move.
Yeah, you got to have the white Ferrari, and everybody wearing these, like, weird sort of, like, big, boxy Armani suits, and just these constant gold chains, smoking cigars, looking all sleazy, but sort of, like, incredibly impeccable as well.
If you want to see like Chakotay from Star Trek playing a Caribbean dictator, this is the show for you. It had a lot of up-and-coming stars. We saw that one with Melissa Leo. She's got an Academy Award for, is it called The Fighter, with Marky Mark? She's
she was a mother, isn't she?
She's just, and she's really good looking. Like, we've only, in the Boxer, she's the mother, and she looks like a crazy, like, 50-year-old woman. But in Miami Vice, she's like a not so crazy 30-year-old woman, and she's looking pretty hot to trot and pretty good. He runs into her while he's, guys, in season 5, it sort of catches up to Sonny. He's suspended for a little while, and he does what psychopaths do. He just goes out and drinks with his gun. I don't know what he was thinking, getting that tanked in the middle of nowhere, packing. It's like, if I'm relieved of wouldn't you have taken a slightly different vacation if you were, Sonny? It's like, I'm going to stick around town and obsess on the things that got me in trouble. That seemed to be the problem for him in season 5. If you guys don't know, Crockett lives a double life on the streets to fool people into doing drug deals with him. And in the early seasons of Miami Vice, they did a few weird things. Like, for instance, drugs were like magical, and also voodoo worked. That was one of the weirdest things about the show. Like, voodoo worked. So once we saw stuff like that being accepted, and the voodoo works was with a Lieutenant Castillo episode too. So it was very serious. When Sonny what did he bonk his head, or did they give him drugs? But Sonny goes into a delusion where he thinks he's his alter ego. He thinks he's his cover story, and he kills a few people.
He survives an explosion, doesn't he? And on a boat, and he wakes up with amnesia.
Right, and the first people to come across him are from his criminal underworld life, and he's like, "Yeah, I am. I am who you say I am. I'm this guy." And he's like, "We gotta make a move on." all the bad guys from the Miami Police Department, Vice Squad. We need to do that, and we need to. He starts moving drugs for real. Like, he's getting involved with like street level crime.
He's goes on Divide and Conquer, isn't he? With the fucking drug lords that he's working with. He's like trying to do a power play. Everything.
The Red Alert version of the game where you control the police robots. Yes, he is.
Yeah, it got so ridiculous. It really did. I mean, you can really see they were sort of running out of ideas a little bit. Season 5 does kind of calm down from the fucking aliens and the clip show from season 4, but you can sort of see it was losing its steam, and it was good that it ended when it did. You know, I mean, the final is actually really good, really emotional. It's a really good emotional final, and a pretty.
What sucks is the finale is in the middle of the season, so you'd be forgiven for not knowing it's the finale. Here's what happens, people.
Oh, that, yeah.
They want Miami Vice off the air to free up the time slot, and the money goes to Quantum Leap. So I guess we all have to say, all right, this was a break-even decision, really. Like Miami Vice may have made its statement, and there may have been nothing left to do but to have Sonny live the life of his alter ego. But what happens is Wolf moves on. Dick Wolf gets his Law and Order show. Yes, and you do recall correctly. Edward James almost loaned a lot of credibility to this show, although he may have had the toughest road as an actor because he was like the least effective police supervisor, and he's like, you all know how I feel about Sonny in like season 5, and I think you and I were both like, we really don't know how he feels about Sonny. All we know is he keeps looking the other way for terrible crimes. Like, don't worry about the paperwork for those 5 bodies, Crockett. Just get out there and solve this. It's what?
Yeah, he's
I
done
don't know how you feel.
Shit, didn't he? As Sonny Barnett, and Castillo's kind of give him a little bit of a slap on the wrist. To be honest, it's
enough to keep the
fucking jail.
Both of them probably should have been fired, and Crockett possibly should have gone to jail. Before we get into what's wrong with the show, before we get into what we love about the show, let's go take the typical Admiral Teague dive and say, like, what was the most whacked out and worst episode? I'm going to say the James Brown one, where we only spend most of the episode with Big Booty Trudy, and she does drugs, maybe by mistake, but for most of the episode, she's tripping and she's in another world, and it's a vivid dream with James Brown. And real world James Brown has intimate knowledge of what happens in the dream, because apparently you can program drugs that way. And he's given her like almost a holodeck trip out of Star Trek. And he's like, I'm sure she saw me flying in on a unicorn down a rainbow. And it's like, that just happened to be her illusion, more or less. So that to me was maybe the craziest episode. Do you have a craziest episode?
I can't think of a crazier episode than that one, to be honest. That was the one that made me think.
That one really was crazy.
Yeah, what the fuck? As soon as I watched that episode, I was like, what the hell is going on here? What were they thinking? I know there was like these crop circle things that were happening around Miami at the time, and they wanted
was he maybe an alien? Right. Yeah, he's a prosperity minister, but the term hadn't been invented yet. He was like a bad TV preacher.
Yeah, it's weird though. James Brown, though, God bless him, he was giving it his all though, despite the terrible material he was given.
Oh, I think the best material he had was what he brought with him to work that day. Is like, this script makes no sense. With what I have in this briefcase, I'll be able to be convincing. Because Miami Vice was not only about some famous like crime-fighting drug stoppers, but it starred a lot of heavy-duty drug users, like the episode with Vanity, where her performance is fine, but when you look at her, she's dead-eyed and possibly blown out. Yeah,
she had a
remember?
Fucking habit, though. And I think it affected her when she died in her 50s. Like, there was still some effects from the drugs that just affected her later on in life. But she had her fucking troubles back in the day. I mean, she even played heroin addict in Action Jackson with Carl Weathers. Oh Christ!
I had forgotten that slightly redemptive attempt at a Shaft movie. Action Jackson should have been better and should have done better. It's unfortunate that Action Jackson had like probably her in it, although again her performance isn't too bad. But yeah, like one of the things I found out about her was, I'm not too into Motley Crue, but the bass player wrote a book about his life. And that was pretty interesting. And he was like, for a whole year, all I did was hang out with Vanity, shoot heroin, and have sex with her. And I'm like, what year was this? And I looked, and it's like, oh, she's on Miami Vice like twice this season. And when you see her, she's just like, she's a little robotic, but she's still, on for that show, kind of a good performance. Because, like, I'd say even the one with Melanie Griffith, she's fine, but that character is so nebulous. I don't know where she's going some of the time. It's like, I never had sex with anybody. I just set it up.
Yeah, she gets let off way too fucking easily. She was still colluding with a lot of illegal shit. She was. And it kind of hints that it does kind of hit home that Sonny Crockett he's got some fucking bad taste in women. He really does.
Hi, Sigvalderson. Yeah, not only does he have bad taste in women, but he also he has like a double vision of justice. Endorse pushing the pretty red button to release the Eldritch God who will free us from our daily burdens. You know, that's Dubcock will be on in a few hours. I mean, that's a question for him. But you know what? As we go on with our Miami Vice discussion, because we had so much fun with this one, I would say out of that whole series, the 2 episodes that stuck out to me as the best, and like I guess we both agree, the weirdest one is the one with James Brown. It's just too weird. They're obsessed with 80s level video effects, like when his face disappears and water comes pouring out of where his skull used to be, and it takes off his own head with his hand. It's crazy. But in the one with Melanie Griffith, what I think I want you to talk to me about is the level of how convincing and how amazing heterosexual, menacing villain George Takei was in the Melanie Griffith episode. It's like, I'm still obsessed with you. I can't get you out of my mind. Your body. He was talk about convincing heterosexual villain George Takei for a minute, please.
Yeah, that was fucking. Well, yeah, he's an actor, isn't he? I mean, it doesn't matter if you're fucking gay or what. If you can play a convincing, menacing asshole, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It just depends on the performer and the material he's given. And yeah, George Takei was fucking rocked in that episode. I've got my problems with him as a person, but when he's acting, he fucking kicks ass. He does. So yeah, did Glenn
He's
Fleur...
a good enough actor that I think everyone was surprised when we found out he was gay, because Sulu was anything but gay. Yeah. Sulu had like definite masculinity. I've said this, you know, another Star Trek actor got a lot of attention and people talked about it. Maybe we'll talk about it too. But like, just before, we should get to the Miami Vice point. What's your top episode of that one of all time that you watched? I think for me, it's Where the Buses Don't Run with D-Day from Animal House.
It is. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, Bruce McGill,
he's
also one of the best guests as well. He's one of the best guest stars on that as well, because you're constantly questioning, is this guy dangerous, or is he actually a good ally? Because he comes across very competent, but at the same time, he's nuts. He's always having these weird outbursts where he talks like Speedy Gonzales. He's very funny.
He does voices. Yeah.
Look at you in your $500 suits.
He holds extensive monologues of himself while Crockett and Tubbs just look back and forth at each other in confusion. And what we get here is that Bruce McGill, D-Day from Animal House, he's a retired cop who's gone over the line. He got like the psych pension right before retirement. It was like he was out there long enough to see crazy stuff, but he didn't make it all the way to the end. It's like, 19 years and 11 months, we had to send him out in the psych pension. He was swinging from the ceiling, man. And he's built a computer that they missed a very, very good chance to have like be... Oh, like that computer should have been recurring, because when they have their own computer, it's just the same prop.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the name of the computer again? Was it Linda?
I think it was Linda, and the password was Crockett and Tubbs. But I think you had to spell Tubbs with a $sign, right? It was like, as they're trying to break in, it was like, hello, Crockett and Tubbs. Speak friend and enter. The computer they had was, from 1985, but it was people who were from 1985 who were old enough to remember how computers were just magic. So any computer from a wristwatch to a table to a desktop had the power of the Enterprise computer. This computer could kind of talk to Crockett and Tubbs a little bit, and it had some ideas about what was going on with crimes, a little more vision. I would have liked to have seen maybe like once or twice a season. It's like, what we got to do, don't we? And I think it was Sally. I think it's Sally was the name of the computer. It's like, what we got to do? We got to turn on Sally for a couple of minutes. Like, you sure that's a good idea, Sonny? That computer turned off half the traffic lights in Miami last time. We got to do it, Tubbs. Like, that would have been great. But they never go back to it and revisit it. When they turn on their computer, it's just some guy with a word processor like, yep, I've checked this out.
But yeah, then again, this was 1985 as well, and I think Rocky Ford just come out and they're thinking, you know what, we've already had dumb robots. I don't think we want to have a dumb talking computer as well. So, we'll leave that. Plus, you get Dick Wolf showing up in the third series, ready to sort of like ground it a bit more.
What happens is this: the most noticeable difference from season. And welcome to everyone who's joined us. Hello to Gavin.
Lombardi.
Good to see you. Lombardi is here.
Big
We've got Gavin. Gavin, this guy's from your neck of the woods. He's from.
Yeah,
he's from
a couple of times. Yeah,
from far eastern America, as we call it. Crockett and Tubbs, like the Bruce McGill character, is definitely a cautionary tale for them, and it's a lot. He has the most fun episode. The Dick Wolf thing is just the body count goes down right away, and for the most part, the jacket artillery, not their regular handguns, but their jacket artillery goes away, and then we take pains to make it more grounded. For the most part, that season, when they need heavy artillery, we see them like open up the trunk and grab their gun. There's a lot more cause and effect. They fill in the blanks more, and they have trigger discipline. They'll fire a bit, but not as much as they had before. It's like they care all of a sudden, and also like they're a lot more accurate. They're always pretty deadly, but instead of killing like 16 people, it'll be a gunfight, and like they'll get like one guy, and like maybe he even lives. Like it's like I won't tell you anything. It's like get this dirtbag in an ambulance. Like that happens because. As much as the jacket guns added to the show, the believability that they could actually have them while they're walking around operating as drug dealers with their other guns on them was just insane a little bit. What do you think about the jacket gun situation with the shotgun for Tubbs and the Uzi for Crockett?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think a cop should be having a fucking Uzi because they have very accurate guns. I mean, according to Lord Toxic, anyway, because.
They're very notoriously inaccurate. Yeah,
no, like you want to have something a bit more practical. I think that's why. I think maybe most police officers have like Glocks and that as well as their pistols, their firearms, and it's never really the Magnums anymore these days. Because
we'll talk about. You could probably almost never have a Magnum unless you were the chief of police of a small town. My dad was an NYPD detective. Growing up, my father had 2 revolvers that he grandfathered over from his days as a beat cop. You could hold on to your gun, and it was just like he had the Tubbs gun was his backup gun, Tubbs' primary pistol, that small 5-shot 38. My father had that as his shoulder carry. His regular gun was just like a 6-round, like regular, like 38, but you could load it with Magnum shells. He wouldn't. He was like, anybody, like when we watched Miami Vice, I remember when Crockett pulled this gun, my father started laughing and said, any detective who ever walked into work with a nickel-plated revolver that overpowered would be in the captain's office in 10 minutes being talked to about, like, what the hell? Is this a fashion accessory to you? Do you realize it's a tool?
Yeah, I can believe that as well. I think that's why I like the Miami Vice a little bit. I like the little bit of escapism, but there is something cool about seeing it go a bit more grounded and more believable. But yeah, I think it just makes it more of like a conversation piece as well when we talk about it. It's just something to have a little joke about now as well because
it doesn't hurt the show or the believability, but it doesn't, like, no cop would be allowed to carry a nickel-plated gun. It's too flashy. And what we thought was weird too is when he's living as his alter ego, he has the only functional black gun that he has through the entire show. I always Googled his gun, and it was like, this gun was only like marketed for 1 year because it was like inherently flawed in design. He always had the year's most happening, worst designed gun every season. They happen to mostly look alike. He has 3 different weapons.
So
all
3
discontinued.
Yeah.
3 different similar nickel-plated automatics that were all like the gun that he has as a bad guy. I think our pal Lord Toxic told us was a Smith & Wesson Commando or something like that. It was like it was his first reliable gun. But there's no talking about that without.
You gotta watch it. It's fucking awesome. It really is.
You know what? We can close out talking about this. In Star Trek, like there's shows like Voyager that aren't as good as the other Star Trek shows where the beginning and the opening theme song are just so good. Miami Vice specialized in a really compelling opening where you're like, I want to know what the hell just happened. It's usually sort of confusing. And then we get this song that is so 1985 and so great. The Miami Vice theme song and opening segment never gets re-edited until the very last season where they had a slightly darker version of the theme song, but the video stays the same. And they do everything they can to nail that city into reality. Tell me what it's like for you when you watch that beginning, and what's the moment where you really feel like the show's getting you like pulled in? Because like for instance, for me, when the windsurfer dips his head in the water, like I'm in Miami, I'm ready to go.
I think it's the beginning where it goes da, 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 just that little build up, and then Miami Vice just comes on, and but here's
the electronic snare drum. You're talking
just that little build up before the title comes up. I love a good build up, and it's I just love the fact that it's just showing all these like beautiful little tourist attraction, sceneries, like all the glamorous areas, the polo, the car showrooms with the Rolls Royces, but then you get to the show and then you got all these prostitutes and pimps as well. You saw the nice glamorous side of Miami. Now you get to see the real ugly side of Miami throughout the whole. Yeah, and I think that's a good way as well. It's like it's almost like you're given the tour, but now you're getting thrown into the shit.
But during that amazing opening sequence with the flamingos and the cigarette boats and everything else, is there like a moment where you feel like you've fully transported yourself to the world of 1985 in Miami Vice? Like I said, for me, when they're playing the bongo drums and we see that windsurfer dip his head in the water, I'm like, all right, I'm there.
Yeah.
That's the moment for me.
Yeah, I could also probably say the bikini chicks walking around with their boobs out is a moment for me, for obvious reasons.
You know what? They look great, but you know what's funny when you think about it? Neither of them have any surgical enhancements. In the town known for the most surgical enhancements in America, it's Miami. I think only like Hollywood has more. So it's like, we have a point where cosmetic surgery was not that affordable or that attainable. So we have a lot of people walking around that are just naturally good looking, including our naturally good looking cast. And someone mentioned some of the rock stars that were on it. I think it was we reviewed together the Phil Collins one. That one was a blast. That might have been the funniest one.
Yeah, because it is kind of like a candy episode. Toxic has described this as, with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you get the odd candy episode, and that was definitely a good one as well. With it sort of took away from the more drug dealers are killing innocent people and they're getting away with it because they've got good lawyers, and being a cop trying to take down these criminals are so hard because the bureaucracy sides with the criminals. So we wasn't getting that. We're getting a good little fun little caper to watch. And this time it was with Zito and Switek.
No, I agree. Switek, we start giving the characters journeys later. The Dick Wolf effect, I think what happens with that is that season is really good and really effective, but it's very stigmatizing and divisive among the fans. I think what happens is after that, Dick Wolf is given his own show, so his role in it is seen as being largely... It's so successful that the successor show to what he did is still on, guys. Law & Order is still on. They took 10 years off. I get it. I know. But the spin-off show is now in season 27, is starting to air for Special Victims Unit. So Dick Wolf knew what he was doing. It's just that him being part of Miami Vice, it was perfect for all the rest of us who got the high-quality crime TV he made later. But it kind of like what happened, I think it divides their writer's room, because when we go from the Dick Wolf season, which I think is 3, right? The next season, didn't it seem like there was pent-up terrible stories that people wanted to tell? Ungrounded stories about 35-year-old high school students?
Yeah, because it kind of does. Yeah, they kind of lose the grittiness of the Dick Wolf ones. You still get some good episodes on there, but there's but like you said, Alien episode, the fucking Clip Show episode, which had a very good beginning, but then it turns out it's a bloody clip show, where it's just the majority of it is going back into other episodes as flashbacks, and I mean, it's not as bad as Friends, which had like 50 fucking clip show episodes. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. But after that really cool beginning, I mean, do you really want to see a clip show? Come on, you had that.
No. I'm ready for an adventure in Miami with these two strange cops who have their own way of doing things. I think for me, maybe the highest moment of the entire series is there's a stakeout. Sonny is dressed in his ice cream man of vengeance, white on white outfit, wearing a white jacket in the middle of July in Miami while everyone's talking about how damn hot it is. And there's a homeless lady, and she's a little weird and a little crazy. And Sonny has an interaction with her, who, for the first time, he's not complaining. The problem sometimes with Sonny is he whines a lot. He can almost come off like a spoiled little girl. You want to slap him. You wish Lieutenant Castillo would just be like, all right, Crockett, give me that fancy gun of yours and take a couple of days off. You know what I mean? It's like, leave the badge on my There's a few times he needs to get slapped out because he's being idiotic. But on this stakeout, and I forget what episode it's from, like, he has this great little back and forth with that homeless lady. She's crazy as could be. He wants some information. She says she'll give it to him for a beer. He gift wraps an individual beer and gives it to her really nicely. Like, you know, he gets on one knee and hands it to her. It's got a bow on it. And she's grateful as could be. And when she gets the beer, she tells him what he needs to know. And it's just like, they love their city too. That was what I thought Dick Wolf's best moments with the show were, where they showed that aside from being grim, obsessed like cops, they were also guardians who had some love for the people they were trying to protect.
Yeah, no, I mean, they are still good guys. They have their problems, but they're still good guys. They want to do the right thing. That's why you still kind of like cling on to them as well. I mean, and they've still got this charm to them as well. You know, like even though Crockett does have his flaws, you know. He's kind of got this like smile on him as well, which makes you kind of makes him endearing, for lack of a better term.
You know what? That's the best way to put it. All right, so moving on for the moment from Miami Vice, the first time that show's gotten this much publicity in this century, but there is talk of a reboot. I guess the last thing to say is we'll talk about the movie for 1 minute and why it didn't make it, but. Is this geographic location anywhere, you know, where is this? Is this close to Ozzy Osbourne land, or is this closer to you?
Which one, sorry? Haslingden. Oh, yeah, that's kind of on the other side of the north. That's more of the west north, while I'm on the east north.
All right. So, like, your backyard is basically Scotland, huh?
Yeah, we're just below Scotland. Yeah, probably somewhere below Scotland.
You got one of the more interesting.
I can bring the map up to you as well to Barnhull for you, so at least you get an idea anyway. Geographically,
we don't want too many people to know exactly where you are, but yeah, if you have something general, that's fine. Yeah, people are talking about the '80s shows they love. The Equalizer, the first time around with that show was okay. The new one with Queen Latifah, I recommend watching it once as a sci-fi show. She's spin kicking people.
Come on, right. Both the Equalizers, Edward Woodward and fucking Denzel Washington, were both guys who were in great shape. You know, you could believe they could do all this stuff. I've not watched the Equalizer TV show, but you get the idea anyway when you look at Edward Woodward back in the 80s. You know, like he was in the perfect shape to be this action man. Same thing with Denzel Washington. They can convince doing this shit. But then you get Queen Latifah, who's just this fucking overweight old lady now.
She is a case for like cardiopulmonary artery disease. Don't mess around, like, you know, with the kind of diet she seems to have. And Latifah has been around for over 30 years. Like, it's like a about 60-year-old woman roundhouse kicking these bad guys. It's got to be somebody in a suit on wires doing this stuff. I don't know how this show is in its 4th season. Maybe it's finally over. I think that show is finally over.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know it got past the first season. Never mind fucking 4th.
It sat around for a while. Gavin Blackburn, this would cause your skull. I mean, this would be the end for most people. You're talking about like your brain shoots out your ears. I don't know. Like, you know, I did enjoy Queen Latifah in Blackfish. It may be a little sad.
Queen Latifah, she does have a convincing on-screen strength to her, but you can't have her doing
not
like
as a beatdown person.
Yeah,
I could see her as like the string puller in a crime family where she maybe has
Yeah.
her sons doing dirty work for her, the way Mary J. Blige does in Power. That for me would work, but I don't. Yeah, I can't see her as the tough
Yeah,
guy
no,
thing
not-
with Queen Latifah.
Yeah,
Wow.
not every character needs to be an ass kicker to be badass. I mean, like, look at fucking Viola Davis in G20. I mean, that was just embarrassing. She's right. She can play a very fucking strong-willed old lady, but when she's taking on fucking guys who are like younger and in better shape than her, I mean, someone must have looked at the dailies of the. Someone must have looked at the footage of that and thought, there is no way this is going to work. We got to scrap this fucking movie. We really do, but they didn't, and it's probably one of the funniest shit I've seen this year.
Whenever we have these movies, I tend to call it either revenge fantasy or wish fulfillment, where we get someone like, and this is one of the more believable ones, even though she weighs 60 pounds, like Daisy Ridley is sort of like some sort of guy bashing tough chick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when she's beating up Clive Owen and his guys, you're at a loss. It's just you're at a complete loss. I mean, I recommend watching 20 random minutes of that movie as well, but not don't watch the movie. Did you see that? Whatever it was called, the wiper, the
I did
washer.
watch it. I almost tried to watch it earlier, but I didn't. But when you've seen all these fucking strong, brave, stunning women, you know, knocking guys who are like who out fucking weigh them by 100 pounds, it's like you've kind of seen them all. And Daisy Ridley, I don't think she's a lousy actress. I don't think she's a lousy person, but
No, I
stop
think we
being
all
an
think
action
she's
hero.
okay.
Just do some fucking dramas, all right? Do some fucking gritty British kitchen sink dramas, something like that. Just play normal.
Well, she's in Toast of London, right?
I can't remember, is she? I need to watch
She
that.
is.
It's
She
been a
is
while.
in the She's in an episode of Toast of London. I think it's the first or second episode. It's right after the session where they dubbed the guys. Toast of London is a show, a
Really
British
good.
BBC show. It's really, really funny. The only familiarity Americans would have with it is the guy who plays the star, Stephen Toast, is the star of the show, is the titular character. He's the voice of Boba Fett's droid in Book of
Yeah,
Boba
Matt
Fett.
Berry. Yeah,
Yeah, they give him a lot of voice work. You know what? If they wanted to fix Doctor Who, give it to Matt Berry. He is cut out to play
He is, yeah.
Doctor Who. He could save it easily. If they gave him 2 good stories in a row, people would be like, Doctor Who's back and Matt Berry's a huge star. He's got a fantastic speaking voice. But right after they dubbed the gay Swedish sex film into English, and him and his worst enemy who stole his wife have to sit in the room and do a voiceover of a love scene. It's like, yes, yes, and it's hilarious. And it becomes apparent that they were only hired to be trolled by the people who were making the dub. Like, they don't care if it works out or not. They have like $200 to waste having these 2 people make fools of themselves. And then he has to go to his regular job, which has been reviewed as the most offensive play in all of London. And basically what he does, he runs on stage naked except for a cape painted red with horns and a fucking pitchfork, and he's the devil. And he comes out and he's like, I had a very disturbing walk to work today. I saw the leading valedictorian of my acting school dead outside. He'd become a hobo and taken to drink, you know. And you see it's Daisy Ridley, and she goes, oh no. And she hands him the fucking pitchfork, and he goes, he died an appropriate death for an actor. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, he shot himself to death. And he goes, no! And screams like the devil and runs out on stage to the audience, to the booing. And you see like people are throwing garbage on stage. Toast of London is a great show.
It is. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, it's just fucking Clem Fandango just winding him up as every hello, Clem Fandango, can you hear me? Yes, I can fucking hear you.
Fuck you, Clem Fandango, and your fake fucking name. How's my Stephen Toast?
It's not bad.
Good for an American.
It's
I
hard to
can't
do Matt
speak
Berry,
English.
though.
I only
It's hard
speak
to do Matt
American.
Berry. It really is, because he's got this great voice, this great delivery. I mean, have you watched Gaff Marini's Dark Place with him?
No, I want to see anything with him in it though.
It was one of the first few things where it's one of the few. It's probably one of the first thing I saw him in as well. He's a lot younger in it as well, and it's like this really bad. this really funny show about this Stephen King wannabe who believes he's this greatest horror writer ever, and he somehow got the budget to make this fucking lame horror show, which never got aired in the 80s because he believes it was so scary they didn't want to air it, but it turned out it was just terrible. And he finally gives us, and it's brilliant. It's like a show within a show. You got the show where the David Iordi from RT Crowd is playing his publisher, and an actor called Dean Lerner, who's a complete fucking psychopath. And the show's called Dark Marenghi's Dark Place. It takes place in a hospital, and the effects are bad. Garth Marenghi himself has cast himself as the lead role, and he can't fucking act, but he uses it as a very good vehicle to sort of like establish his narcissism and how fucking great he thinks he is when he's really just a hack. It's really good. It's a great satire. It's funny as hell. Matt Berry plays this actor who's always he's kind of always overpronouncing words like me, I was strictly solo, but if you want to be others, I won't stand in your way. Brilliant.
If you're going to use this guy, you want to use his voice because his speaking voice, he's got an enormous amount of control, and his speaking voice can be hilarious. Him just saying the word yes, I don't think I've laughed quite that hard so many times.
No, but the real laughs come when they're interviewed as the fake actors playing the characters, especially Garth Marenghi. I mean, it's like, I know a lot of writers that use subtext, and they're all cowards. And the ironic thing is, there is tons and tons of subtext because every time a line is uttered, you can sort of see this character's narcissism just bleeding into this very terrible show, and that it makes it funnier. It's clever. It's like they make it terrible, but the more terrible they make it, the more genius it becomes. Even when the actors pretend to be these actors who have no chemistry, they somehow have chemistry. It's amazing.
Sir, that was so controversial. Sir.
That right on. No, I agree. Matt Berry, I haven't seen the second show, but I now you've got me really wanting to see it. I guess we got to the 47-minute mark of the show. Who would have thought of it without me asking you this? But we've never really talked about this. One of my things is Star Trek. I do a Star Trek show on Saturday nights. What's your relationship with Star Trek? Do you like it? Do you watch it?
I kind of watched a couple of episodes when I was younger, but a couple of years back, I finally got around to watching the original Star Trek back to back, all the episodes, and same thing for the Next Generation. And God, I have really not appreciated it more as a young lad. I mean, I think it seems to be better when you're an adult, but you can sort of see the philosophies they were sort of getting at as well. And maybe as a kid, you could still like it because you don't realize this show is teaching you a lot of philosophies on the flaws of human beings and just how important friendship is and how we can sort of succumb to our shadow, something like that. It just speaks about humanity in general.
I couldn't agree more, and I think the way that Star Trek used to do things like political stuff was, it was usually stuff that wasn't super controversial. It was like, for instance, there's that one episode where Kirk's boss is just black, and which is revolutionary for 1967, but they're not like, I'm not going to listen to you, you're black. Like, it doesn't become the center of the whole episode the way it did with new Star Trek, where there's like, this episode will be the first one to have 3 Hispanic, like trans women, and it's like, no one cares. It's going to be bad again. Like, Star Trek was more, I thought, maybe observational than instructional, and when they cross the line into instructional is what's the problem with their modern shows, really.
Yeah, no, because Star Trek was very balanced. I mean, okay, yeah, it was very written by liberals, but this was back when liberals knew how to write something that wasn't condescending or pompous or pretentious.
Yeah, we had a liberal who had gone out and taken weapons in his hands and fought against fascism and fought against the Imperial Japanese and seen military command structure and how a ship works and done stuff, that in a way that, first of all, had been brave in real life and served for a good cause. But when you think about it, when his non-military Starfleet Yeah, they're not a military quote unquote in the words of the show, but they use military protocol to accomplish everything from getting something to eat to exploring a planet to fighting back against their worst enemies. It's kind of just something that the modern Star Trek people can't do. So you watch TNG and you watch TOS. I'm gonna guess probably no Voyager, no DS9 or Limited, right?
Yeah, because I've not properly watched Voyager. I did catch a couple episodes not too long ago when I was staying at an hotel. But
You can parachute into Voyager. Deep Space Nine, after like a couple of seasons, becomes very serialized.
yeah, because I mean, I don't know if that works for Star Trek because Star Trek was very episodic, wasn't it? I mean,
It only worked for that one show. Deep Space Nine was the weirdest Star Trek show. It was a lot of people call it the least Star Trek like show, but the thing is, it was also the most successful during its run. But I think it just inherited 7 years of goodwill from Next Generation as well, and as a couple of Next Generation characters. But yeah, Deep Space Nine it's we never have plots that interwoven again. They do it a little bit in Enterprise, but never to the extent again.
yeah, I've not properly watched Enterprise that much. Like I said, I've only seen like a couple of episodes, and I do like Scott Bakula. I think he had great potential to be another great Star Trek captain, but I think by the
He
third
gets
season
there.
where it was getting better, and they suddenly cancelled it, didn't they?
It was unfortunate because he had kind of gotten there, but he wasn't able to stay in that place for more than like a season. In the season 3 arc, which is a little weird, especially for me, where they have the strong parallels to 9/11, it is a little upsetting to watch some of the stuff, especially when they get into stuff that's like very close to the mark. The series is actually better now than it was when it aired because Star Trek should not do like Law and Order and do a story torn from the headlines. For me especially, I could see the smoke on the horizon from 9/11 as going home to watch Star Trek, and I want to go to the final frontier and see an adventure. I don't want to have them be attacked by these weird Taliban like guys and they're like, "All right, we're going to go get even with these goddamn Taliban." And then have them get all Star Trek about it and have it be a nuanced conversation. So, like, for the most part, season 3 didn't bother me, but the way they threw us into it really was tough for me. The 9/11 analogy was tough to live with for the first couple of episodes.
Yeah, especially when you were in New York and you was actually like witnessing that stuff as well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy as well because when we first saw footage of it, I had no idea just how big this was gonna, go on for as well. I mean, I don't know why. I should have done, but it's like you see two buildings just get blown up by some nutcases and loads of people are dying. It's like, yeah, it's how the fuck can you comprehend something like that? I mean,
There was no context for it. There was no
Yeah.
context for it.
I know.
Yeah.
Plus, yeah, the 2000s really was haunted by that event as well because we've seen that happen a lot in films as well, especially with the paranoia going on about
Well, for one thing, I think it ends Roland Emmerich as an effective filmmaker because people are like, I don't want to see another massive building collapse. I don't want to see another movie where we destroy all of New York. I just saw that on the news. It was Independence Day would have probably failed in 2002. And then you have a movie that might not have succeeded at any other time, like not Zero Dark 30, but Ridley Scott's Black Hawk Down. That movie was kind of like word of mouth that it just has an extended fight between U.S. soldiers and extremist terrorists. People were like, yeah, I'm down for that movie. And when I saw that movie like 4 or 5 months after 9/11 in New York, people were sort of cheering in this like it was a football game. Every time somebody got like like a U.S. soldier got a baddie, people were like, yeah, F you. It was a weird movie to see in Manhattan. I was like, this movie I think I need to see in New York, in the city. I think I need to go to Manhattan to see this one. But as far as movies go, for a moment, there was a Miami Vice movie. It doesn't work. It had everything that the show had going for it, but I guess maybe that's the moment we realized Michael Mann signed off on but did not create the show. And the movie he created, it's amazing how flat and unlifelike it was. Was it that it doesn't have someone like Don Johnson? What was it that made that movie not really take off?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think they tried to go too realistic and too gritty, and it feels more like Heat than Miami Vice.
And
You
Heat
still
is the same guy, so I see where you're coming from, and it wouldn't have been an illegitimate crossover, but it's not. It doesn't work.
yeah, because they're both totally different. I mean, Heat and Collateral are tons really fucking grounded. They're really grounded, a lot more darker, a lot more gritty. And Miami Vice, well, gritty, still had a little bit of that glamour, that 80s glamour, that pastel beach sun-kissed glamour. And you need that for Miami Vice. You can't turn it into what is it? That other Heat that Michael Mann did in the 80s. What is it? LA Takedown. You can't turn it.
Is it L.A. Confidential or is it
LA Takedown?
Mulholland Falls?
Yeah, it was LA Takedown, and I only saw a little bit, but it did feel like a very bad, long, extended episode of Miami Vice, and Heat is a lot better. You can really see Michael Mann.
Who's the star of Miami of the Takedown movie? Of LA
I don't
Takedown?
know, to be honest.
Is it Nick Nolte? Does it have a
No,
different name in Europe?
No, honestly, I've forgotten the name of the actors. I'm not going to lie.
So this is not Mulholland Falls that I'm thinking of.
No, let's have a look at
Is it Mulholland Drive? One of the one's David Lynch and one is Michael Mann.
Mulholland Drive, I think, is David Lynch. Oh, wait, LA Takedown, 1989 movie. The cast.
I don't know this one.
Yeah. Michael Rook is on it though. Alex MacArthur and Scott Plank. They were the main stars in it, and they're basically playing the Robert De Niro and Al Pacino roles.
Oh, I remember this movie. You know why I snubbed it? I thought it was a French film. I thought it was called La Takedown. I was like, fuck that. I don't dig foreign cinema, man. I'm not going to read subtitles. I don't remember that one, honestly. But hey, welcome everyone who showed up. Quark bans all new Trek holosuite simulations. Even Ferengi have principles. Have you're familiar? You became familiar with Star Trek. I would have to say, good on you as someone who wants to be a critic and review stuff. It seems like TOS and TNG are where you're at. Like, how do you feel about those two captains, and which one do you prefer?
Yeah, I do like Captain Kirk. I used to kind of be a bit more, Picard, but when I watched all these series back to back, I thought Kirk is someone you can have a drink with, while Picard is a little bit more. He's like someone you can have a nice glass of port with in a nice established, classy area. While Captain Kirk, he'll happily be at the nearest fucking dive bar, down in a fucking beer
with the real people. Yeah, being gritty. And being Captain Kirk, I imagine that if we were to have beers if we were to go to meet either Captain Kirk or Captain Picard, Kirk speaks for itself. It would be a blast. Drinks are on the house. Like Picard, it seems like he would ask us what we were drinking, order on our behalf, and maybe get the tab, but pointedly get a non-alcoholic drink for himself while he sipped his tea and looked down his nose at us, hoping we would leave as soon as possible, but picking up the tab so no one can say he was a bad person. Where he was like Captain Kirk would just be like, "There is no money where I come from. We just keep drinking."
Yeah, well, I think that's why I like Picard a little bit as well, because because that very final episode where he sits down with them, gets the cards and says, "I should have done this long ago." I mean, it is. You can really see that's paid off real well for his character. You can really see his. That was a good final. I mean, just going back and forth through fucking time, and you're wondering what's happening. I mean, that was so brilliant. I mean,
that was the best finale of any show, and all other Next Generation tales after are unasked for and unnecessary, in my opinion. The movies were terrible. Some of them were terrible.
Yeah, I did like First Contacts, but Insurrection, I mean, God, those people were like, we don't need technology, even though they're using like these machines that, they are electrical, but they're still machines. That's still technology. Technology, what's technology? It's kind of like a type of tool, isn't it?
And even with First Contact, we start to have very stupid Star Trek that has like girl bosses in it, for instance. Like We have the very convenient way they chase the Borg back through time. And then we have Alfre Woodard, like the assistant to Cochrane, you broke your little ships, where she has to tell Captain Picard to stop being a child and go, be a goddamn leader. I mean, that was some very bad firsts in Star Trek First Contact. I call it Star Trek Worst Contact, and I'm a believer in what's called the Nexus theory. Here's a fan theory that's from when you were in grammar school. When people saw Star Trek Generations, they disliked it so much and they thought it treated Captain Kirk so bad that people on examination of the plot said that the Nexus was a plot device too strong to escape because Guinan explains it as no matter what you want, it'll let you think it's happening, but it won't be real. So he's like, I'm going to leave and I'm going to stop Soran. It's like, she just told you that you would think that no matter what. So when they made it into the inescapable dream machine, that's what it is, and Picard's story can't go further. All other Star Trek movies from that point on are dreams in the Nexus by Picard, which is why they don't make sense and aren't any good.
Yeah, it's plus didn't Teags say that I know I will die alone in Star Trek 5,
Yeah, not with some pussy.
Yeah, I know. And a lot of people were real pissed off that he was left on the planet buried under some rocks. But I think they did kind of make it up a little bit when they did that little short movie where there was no dialogue whatsoever. That was beautiful. That was such a beautiful thing.
I got to thank the people who did that from the bottom of my heart. And that was one New Trek director who will talk to people and is not... He's sort of pragmatic about it. He's like, look, it's my job. I try to make it better than, I try to make it the best I can. The director, Dave Blass, who did Unification, to get that 6.5, 7 minutes of William Shatner again and his moment with Spock and everything else, it was like the greatest privilege of my reviewing career to get brand new William Shatner Star Trek that we never deserved or never should have had to review, and that was just a great moment. And to see this new performance, and you're like, there will just never be any more, and it should never be any more. That was Unification was fantastic, wasn't it?
It was beautiful. Oh God, man! If you want to make a grown man cry like a bloody bitch, that is one short movie that I will do it. And it was good to sort of see something that was a good Star Trek film again, even if it was just for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
The weird thing about that one is I don't think it's allowed to make money. It is not listed on YouTube. You have to look for it. It's got like 800,000 views. It would have 8 million to 80 million views by now. If it was listed, you have to go to Otoy. OTOWY is the name of the channel, and they do special effects, and they released it with the Roddenberry family and Shatner, and they also used Michael Giacchino, I believe, did the music for it. It's his contributions to Star Trek are okay.
Michael Giacchino fucking kicks ass. He's done like The Last of Us. I think he did The Incredibles as well. He's done what else? Impossible.
He did the Star Trek movies for JJ, and as much as I hate those movies, if they had recast that theme for anyone else, that Star Trek theme that Michael Giacchino wrote is fantastic.
Yeah, he's a good composer. He is. I mean, I did like New Trek a little bit years ago, but when I started watching the older ones a bit more, I started to think, you know what? These are a lot more smarter. The JJ ones, they're kind of just they're way too actiony. They're way too kind of comical as well. When you think about it.
They also do Captain Kirk dirty by making him be a cheater on the Kobayashi Maru test, and also left out of the movie. JJ talks about it. You can find this on YouTube, guys. JJ Abrams' commentary for Star Trek 09. He talks about how what happened is he had his green girlfriend that he only used to do this for him, that he then dumps, and the movie shows him being a scumbag, but didn't have enough time. Like, he also had to cut out a whole beginning movie that he said was like The Goonies, where he had a child cast that he got lost in for a long... He wanted anything but to do Star Trek, so... his touch on that was just... Ugh.
But then again, didn't kind of reveal he cheated on the Kobayashi Maru on Rafa Khan because he says, "I don't
See,
like that.
that's
I don't believe in no lose situations.
no
I
win
forgot-
situations.
Yeah,
You know what? Though here's the thing. I don't think he cheated. What they said was earlier in the movie we found out he took the test 5 times, right? So in American schools, I don't know about in Europe, if you fail a test, you have the right to ask to take it again, and a lot of teachers will let you. So what happened was, I guess he was probably already the best cadet in his class. So he was given the chance to take the Kobayashi Maru again and again, and there was nothing in this story about deception. He introduced the concept of the Klingons having to deal with a feared and respected Federation commander as the wild card. That's from the novelization, but he was able to, according to the novel, and in the movie, it kind of holds up to this. What he says is, McCoy says, "You're looking at the only person to ever have successfully beaten the Kobayashi Maru." Which doesn't, and by the way, he said earlier, it's a test of character. You can't fail, right? But he had beaten the Kobayashi Maru. He had beaten the Klingons somehow and gotten the optimal solution. And they say I got a commendation for original thinking. Was that, and then David, who's a mad scientist who cheated at making the Genesis device, goes, he cheated, and he said, I changed the conditions of the test, which means that he spoke to his professors and said, look, what if the Federation commander had some respect? And it sounds to me like there was room in the story without having to rewrite it to say Kirk was allowed to take the test more than once, even though it was a test of character, because he was such a gifted cadet. And we know that he is from the show. The episode where No Man Has Gone Before, they say that he was, always studying, always had his nose in a book in the academy. He can read Morse code. That's from the 19th century. He can hear it in real time still. So he's like a genius. And I feel that was the part of Kirk it spoke to. And we lose that with JJ. And he does a bad con.
It goes real childish in the new version. While in the old version, it kind of became part of his conflicts when he loses Spock, because he's always tried to cheat death, hasn't he? And now he's lost his friend and he can't cheat it. Him cheating has kind of defeated him in a way.
I've laughed at death. I've patted myself on the back. Yeah, that was a great moment for Captain Kirk, and he's talking to David.
Yeah, Rafa Cat fucking rocks. That film is just so good. It really is. Even if you're not a Trek fan, you gotta sit down and watch that movie and just marvel at every single great bit of dialogue, every single. I can't even finish it. I cannot finish the word, but yeah, it definitely does ramp up the bloody tension. It really does go full on dark, and it is real. And you got a great villain as well in Ricardo Montalban. He's just so canav, and he's so intelligent,
oozing with charisma.
Yeah. And the guy was in his 60s, I think, when he did this movie, and the dude was fucking jacked as hell. The guy was like the universe in that movie. Their minds were blown, and they asked him about it right there, and he said, well, until this Fantasy Island thing, I mostly did westerns, and I was always being cast as I say guardian for the Native Americans, because this way the AI that kind of tries to keep an eye on us. When we did shows like 1883, like the Guardians could sometimes be evil. So he's an evil Guardian. Like, you'll get in trouble if you call it what it is. So my YouTube ism for that is Guardian. So yeah. It's weird how we have to play this game to tell the truth, isn't it? It is, yeah. It's like you can't say the K word; you have to say unalive. It's
deleted.
It's normal words. Yeah, the words that do the words that mean something nasty, but they're still normal words. These aren't offensive words. It's like everyday thing, and it's like we're kind of losing that kind of that little bit of common sense with these downright ridiculous restrictions. It's unreal.
It really is crazy. So Ricardo Montalban said, like, I had to keep playing Guardians in all these westerns. You know, they would cast me as a chief or whatever, or some kind of medicine man, and I was shirtless all the time. So I've just kept up with my calisthenics, and I just happened to be this buff. And they were like, "Seriously, dude?" And he's like, "Yeah, you know, I had to be ready to be in a show shirtless, and you know, I have some pride. I want to look good. So yeah, you know, I watch what I eat, and I do a lot of working out." And they're like, "Damn, it's going to pay off." And I believe Ricardo made it to like 89, 91. So it did pay off. And he looked great. And he was super imposing as Khan. I love when he picks the two up off their feet. And he's like, you know, "I never forget a face." And and all that. Just, it was fantastic. He was fantastic in that one. So, yeah. I guess so. Picard still does. Hey, look, Snell Messiah's here. Lies, all lies, says Snell Messiah. It's good to see Snell. Hello, sir. So your knowledge on Enterprise is like, there's a Star Trek show that you basically have never seen or just have had teased to you is what I'm getting, right?
Yeah, I've just seen a couple of episodes. I've never properly watched it all the way through, sadly. But I do like Scott Bakula. I've liked him. I liked him in Quantum Leap, which is another great show that got rebooted again, and it shouldn't have done. I mean,
the same people who did Star Trek rebooted it, and it had some of the same problems.
I know. I mean, why didn't they just do like a final episode that was that gave maybe Sam Beckett a little bit of a resolution?
Let him jump home.
Yeah,
it's too bad. And it's too bad that they got their hands on all these reboots too, because like Magnum PI is another great show that they ruined for season after season after season with their dumb Secret Hideout version of that, and they darn near put CBS out of business. I don't know that Secret Hideout, the people who do the Star Trek and the Magnum and the other reboots, they did the Hawaii Five-0 reboot too. I don't think they've ever had an original show.
I know, it's like, it's because it's easy money, isn't it? Just cash in on the nostalgia and hopefully it works, but it doesn't work. Because people are nostalgic for the actual show, not a bastardized version of a show.
Or one for modern audiences. Like,
exactly. That as well, yeah. I'll put it under the bastardized version, you know, because that's what these modern wokified reboots are. They just bastardize, diluted, it's like processed sludge. It's like when you get the original show, it's like proper meat you get out of butchers. When you get the modern woke stuff, it's just processed sludge fed into a fucking hamburger at McDonald's.
It really is. Yeah. It's like, here's the parts of the cow that were unfit for a steak. Let's use the ears, lips, and assholes to make people a tasty snack. And it's like,
yeah, we'll throw a few human remains in there as well, because I've been seeing some shit on that. I don't know if it's actually true, but I would not be surprised.
Hell, my friend Jedi Master Lost
in
Jedi Master Sci-Fi Classics. Well. It's been a tick. Welcome, everybody. This is my pal, Northern English Bastard. He's far from a bastard. He is a great guy. His channel's recommended in my channel. His link to his channel is also in the description of this show. It's also pinned to the top of the chat where you guys are invited to follow his channel. He just made it to 1,000. And you know what? If you would, tell us what it was like climbing that mountain to get to 1,000.
I can't see it. It's like you just kind of get on and do it, don't you? I mean, there's been times where I did get a little bit. I was like, come on, let's get some subs. But after a while, you sort of stopped chasing it and just wanted. You just got to enjoy yourself. That's it. You got to enjoy yourself. Just keep churning out as much videos as you can if you get the time. Don't be afraid to, you know, take the time out to do things in real life that aren't YouTube. But and plus, I gotta thank the Critical Drinker as well, because he's had me on 3 times, and him inviting me on has probably gotten me to where I am, which would have taken years for every other channel.
Critical Drinker, is he a YouTuber?
Yes, you know, he's very underrated. Apparently, he's got too many subscribers, yet no one seems to have heard of him. But,
yeah, is he perhaps the guy? Is he also? I think I read about him in a book by this guy called Will Jordan. I think read about the critical drinker. Yeah, no, I don't know how you ended up knowing him, but yeah, you came on my radar where critical drinker just tweeted out of nowhere. This guy deserves more followers. And
Yeah,
I
my
was
Alien
like,
Romulus
what?
one. Yeah, that was. I did not know about that until someone in the comments told me about it. And how I got to talk to Critical Drinker. Well, I joined his Patreon. Messaged him once. Said, could you have a look at my Sarah Connor video because I want to see if I can improve somewhere. And he just gave me some advice, and I followed it. And yeah, I am where I am now because of him, and I can't forget the other people who've helped me get there as well, especially Toxic and Blue Collar and Stupenzo and Lance, and I mean, there's others I'm not mentioned just right now, but you know who you are. If you're watching this, you know who you are. So if I forgot your name, forgot to mention you, I do apologize.
I kind of know a little bit how it feels because in my life, what happened was I was this outlier Star Trek reviewer, and I was one of the few people standing up and saying that Picard 3, while better, was still not good and still not Star Trek. And Doomcock had me on to kind of at least legitimize me as a Star Trek critic, and that was kind of an incredible experience. So I guess we have a little bit in common that way. But I would say, what's it like? Here you are. For me, I had like 180 subscribers, and Doomcock has me on Pop Culture Breakdown, and we don't do Star Trek, but he makes sure to go out of his way to tell people that I have a good Star Trek take and that I'm a decent critic, and kind of extend the shields and legitimize me. And I'm there. You try to be pithy. You try not to sound dumb, and it's like I need to have two settings: profound and silent. And you see this live count. What? Just share with people with a perspective when you're sitting there and you look at this live count, or do you just make sure not to?
Sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
When you go on to a show like that where it's that big and you're used to being a YouTuber on a level where you have a couple of hundred subs, where 25, 30 people is a fantastic day.
Oh yeah, the comment section. Yeah, I know what you mean. I try not to look at it as well because I've seen when Blue Collar and Lance go on there as well. I mean, you get some that really seem to have a lot of animosity towards them as well. I mean, and I've noticed a couple of times as well where if one of my friends are on that open bar and they talk too much, they're like, why is this guy always talking? Or if they don't talk enough, they're like, he just sits there, he never says anything. But thankfully, I've had some of those fans from Will's channel come onto mine and support me. So yeah, you can't win everyone. That's the thing, and I don't wish any harm on the people who didn't like my guest appearance. It's because there's always going to be some guests you see on your favorite show who you don't like. It's one of those things, you can't help it.
That's if everybody was the same, there would be no reason to watch anyone except one person. That would be North Korean state TV for everyone.
No, it's like go out your way to please everyone. You please no one. Sometimes you got to just say what you fucking say. Be, voice your opinions. Be true to who you are, and just, and eventually you'll win over some people and piss off some others. Sometimes it's always fun to piss off the others. It's depending on who they are.
It can be fun to troll back against those who would not let people, all do their own thing, so to speak, or people who would think that we should get in line. And that, I guess, is the one thing that I scoff at the idea I should get in line and just be happy there's a Star Trek show, the same way you scoff at the idea that just because we're presented with these things, it's like, oh, well, yeah, it's bad MCU, but, the alternative is no MCU at all. And you say, there were years with no MCU that were better.
The alternative is good MCU. It's like, it's like these people saying, well, if you don't have anything nice to say, you shouldn't say anything at all. No, I want to say something that's either nice or not nice. You got to be fucking honest. Telling someone not to say anything is like trying to shut them up for having an opinion. We've got to have the disagreeable conversations sometimes.
it's weird, this is a saying that we have across societies. I've heard it in my own life. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. You know what? You're under arrest for murder is a very, not a very nice thing to say, but like not saying anything at all is far worse. So, like, with don't say anything nice at all, like, you can get to too much of a good thing with that. You know what I mean? It's like, well, The Last Jedi wasn't a perfect Star Wars movie, but the alternative would have been no Star Trek movie at all. And I'm saying, the years with no Star Trek movie at all were better for no Star Wars movie at all were better for Star Wars than the year with Last Jedi.
And it's stupid as well. But it's also kind of like them defending the show for being bad. It's like, no. If something's shit, you say it's shit. It's like that little meme where the guy takes his trousers off and, plunks his ass near a plate and goes to shit, and he's like, how do you know that shit? You haven't seen it yet.
Exactly, yeah.
No.
But I know exactly what you mean. And with some of these movies, it's like, we've heard the promise over and over. This will be more relatable, a lot more like the MCU comics you wanted to see, and we're going to deliver you the story that's more familiar, that like was successful in the past. And I think at this point, like, for myself, I don't know about you, what I think is, no, that means you're going to take another crack at repackaging this feminine empowerment tale with elements of revenge fantasy. You're just going to try it again, and you're going to think that you can get it right this time. You're not actually going to make a good movie. You're not actually going to change what's going wrong.
I know, and the thing is, it's not that hard to write a fucking strong female. Just have her, just give her some flaws, give her a character arc. I mean, we've got blueprints of strong female characters in the past. Sigourney Weaver as fucking Ripley, Sarah Connor, Gina Davis in what was it? What's that film again?
Thelma and Louise.
Long Kiss Goodnight. That's it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I guess Ripley. Who was the second one you said? That's the better example. Yeah, Sarah Connor's a better example because she's transformed from movie 1 to movie 2. In movie 1, she's living a normal life. In movie 2, she's like a sociopath in a institution who's working out all day, getting ready for Judgment Day.
Yeah, no, she's kind of like human. She's kind of like lost her humanity as well because she knows people are going to die. So who cares? Who cares right now? But that's why I kind of like it. It's her journey with a killing machine that humanizes her.
It's weird, right? Like, she has become machine-like and robotic as a human because of her interaction the first time with it. And then when she runs into the second one, that one becomes humanized because of her and has a knock-on effect where she herself becomes more human. And I'm not the biggest hater of the third one, but it's not great. And then after that, my God, how crazy.
Yeah, the third one, it's okay in places, but you can sort of see it's becoming a bit too jokey as well. But I'll give some credit. I mean, even Arnie is still pretty cool in it, but I do prefer his Terminator number 2 because he kind of has this character arc, doesn't he? A little bit like he becomes more human. While he was just there, he's just there to be Arnie and do some kick-ass Arnie shit, and that's it.
Mr. E dropping a hot take. Good to see you. You know what? Let's talk on that for 1 minute. I think that Phantom Menace shocked me. I had to go back and see it again because it was so bad. I think that Attack of the Clones, while not a good movie, reassured me that they might be able to fix it for the third movie because for the first 10 minutes, all they do is address things we hated about Phantom Menace. We get rid of all the clones. We bench Jar Jar. We make it clear that he's not going to be in the story, and we change from the Anakin no one could stand to a less impalpable Anakin. And I think that maybe Revenge of the Sith is as good as the other Star Trek movies. I don't think it's shit. What do you think of Mr. E's comment? Very controversial, by the way, sir.
Yeah, I don't mind Return of the Jedi, but yeah, there's a lot wrong with it. I mean, Han Solo should have fucking died in Empire Strikes Back because he's kind of just there in the third one. I mean, even Han Solo is kind of phoning it in a little bit, like, well, why don't you use your divine influence and get us out of this? And And it would have given
It's against my programming to impersonate a deity, sir.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be proper. Wouldn't be proper.
Proper? Why, you?
Yeah, you know,
He's so
he's
fucking hammy in that movie. He is.
he's comic relief. The funniest comment I ever heard is Han Solo. He goes through all this for the rebellion, and the only time his girlfriend looks super smoking hot, he's blind.
Oh, man. Yeah. How much cooler would it have been if it was fucking Jabba and his men going after the Empire? You know, like, it would be real cool as well to see these sort of like dodgy assholes sort of like redeem themselves a little bit as well. Like, yeah, the gangsters, they're racketeers, the criminals, but they've got a common enemy. I mean, the Empire, the tyrants, they're 10 times worse, aren't they? That would have been cool. In fact,
Yeah.
Rocketeer did that better when they had the mobsters sort of help the Rocketeer take on Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, that's a great line from the Rocketeer, right? I might not keep an honest book, but I'll be damned if I'm selling out Uncle Sam to some Nazi piece of garbage.
Yeah, forget the fucking Ewoks. Have Jabba and his men take on the Empire. That would, and not only that, it would have made the character. It would have made Jabba actually make sense for the story because he's kind of just in it in the first 20 minutes, and then after that, he's just removed.
And the destructive nature of Book of Boba Fett means that if Jabba's plan had succeeded, they would have easily killed the Sarlacc, and looking very ugly, they'd have gotten back to his palace an hour later, killed Jabba, and then gone on their way, and the movie would have happened exactly the same way it did, except they'd all be scarred. Our RTNZ sends us a $5 New Zealand super chat. Says, Moon to Jupiter. Are you two madmen at it again? I put you two in touch. I've created a non-stop streaming monster. Luke got to introduce Teag to Will.
Yeah.
He gave me a shout out.
It was him that introduced me to you. Yeah, I've just remembered now. And I will try. I'll mention it.
It's not necessary. You know what? Critical Drinker is a great YouTuber and an inspiration as far as that's why I started making video essays. I really love his work on that. And, you know, he sets a standard and he's an aspirational figure, but, you know, he owes me absolutely nothing. Would I be thrilled? Of course. He's the Critical Drinker. Am I worthy of this? Only he knows. But I have an opportunity to talk to him like about once a month where he takes that Critical Drinker fan club quite seriously. And I always have exactly what I want to say to him right after that ends. You know what I mean? It's like there are a couple of questions, but it's like, do I really want to ask Critical Drinker? You know, I have like a bad social media fight thing going on. Like, how would you navigate it? It's like I maybe might be able to perceive that. If I'm going to talk to Critical Drinker, the one thing I would do in that is I would just have a question and then listen to what he had to say rather than speak to him, because I found the problem with a lot of the availabilities that people do, and this is not Drinker, this is everybody, with people's top tier memberships, sometimes people just talk to the person and they don't want to hear their take on it. It's like, I would want to set him up to tell me, it's like, now that I'm at, maybe the question would be like, as I'm on the verge of 2,900 subs, and hey guys, you could be number 2,900. You know, what's your advice to take it further? And it might be something as predictable as, you know, be consistent or, you know, stick to your authenticity, but I would still want it to be his answer rather than me explaining to him how I got there. Because for sure he knows and no one else cares. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because let's not forget, I mean, it wasn't until he released his Captain Marvel video that he suddenly fucking blew up. Like,
I knew who he was before that, but I can't claim to be some sort of like guru. Like, I remember when he only had 85,000 subscribers. I mean, he was very successful. I think the seminal moment for me for YouTube was I was trying to do it with like blogging and stuff like that. I wasn't trying to have an impact so much as I was like doing it in a diary form to like keep track of how I felt about some of these movies that really bothered me, and it was just all pop culture stuff. And then I refused to go see Rise of Skywalker. I was like, I'm not paying money for this. It'll be on the streaming service soon enough, or there'll be pirate copies or whatever. I'll see it some other way than in the theater. There's no way I'm going. And I went and I found, like, I used the search term on YouTube and I found the EFAP live I think it's 7 hour long Rise of Skywalker reaction with everyone, with like but
Jesus.
people as far back as JXE, who we haven't seen around in a while, who was great, and people like Critical Drinkers on for like an hour of it. He just they're like he was, I guess, bigger than the other YouTubers, and they're like, Drinker will be here later. Like, we can't wait get to hear his take. And Shad Brooks was on there, and it was just absolutely everyone. And I had never heard the EFAP guys before, and their 5 hour description of this movie, it left me wanting nothing. I did not feel like I needed to see the movie after that. And I have never laughed so hard since or before. Those guys had so much time.
I was real surprised Ben Shapiro has actually defended it, saying it's out of all the Star Wars sequels, it's the only watchable one. And they've been really hardcore against what's happened with Star Wars, and especially with the sequel trilogy. But I don't agree. As soon as I watched that, I thought, yeah, they had no fucking ideas what they were doing whatsoever with this trilogy. I mean, give credit to George Lucas. Yeah, his dialogue is pretty fucking bad in the prequels, and if it wasn't for some of the people gaining a little bit of control in the original trilogy, we probably would have had that same crap. But he still had a plan with his trilogy. He still had he still had
He was writing on the fly, but he was doing some writing on the fly. We see the stuff from the procedural or whatever, the documentary that kind of parallels the making of Empire, where he's kind of like over the guy's shoulder and doing some rewriting. We know he rewrote Obi-Wan's death because like he realized that he should have taken part in the attack on the Death Star. Because Alec Guinness was like, well, why wouldn't my character go back and attempt to be part of this heroic endeavor? I'm a Jedi Knight. And he was like,
oh shit, I may not have gone far enough with this
Yeah.
one.
and he went back and like, writes this. What I would have to say, a lot of people criticize it. When I saw this movie, I was just old enough to like really be the low end of the target audience. I was like a young kid, little kid who had watched enough Star Trek to follow what was going on. That lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan and Vader was the first one we ever saw. People don't give it the credit it had. That had emotional weight in that movie, The Death of Ben.
Yeah, I mean,
it had a lot of emotional weight.
It's not the most compelling fight because it's just two old guys touching sticks, but it still works though, because when Obi-Wan dies, you feel Luke Skywalker's lost, even though he's only basically known him for like a few hours. But this is the testament of a good performance as well, just making you feel like you've known this guy for years, even though you've only seen him on screen for like a few minutes.
I feel like you could see that over the course of the of his life, he had run into old Obi-Wan a bunch of times, and
because he calls him Ben, doesn't he? And he looks at him with some familiarity. So yeah, he has known him for quite a while. Robot Chicken got that wrong,
Well, like they were right and they were wrong, right? Because in their episode, like, they also point out Ben Kenobi. I wonder if he means old Ben Kenobi, because it is kind of one of those things. And like we said, Lucas with the dialogue, and Mark Hamill's got a tough scene to act there by himself, doing exposition out loud, whatever. The thing that I thought was kind of cool about old Obi-Wan was they missed this opportunity. This is the Obi-Wan show they could have had that would have been great, would be Obi-Wan goes to their moisture farm to buy some water, swap some parts, and get some things that he needs to survive out there in his hermitage. And the whole place gets attacked by Tusken Raiders, But we already made the mistake of making them like almost like killing a human now, right? So, but get attacked by sand people. Have to take flight and go to make your way in a desperate flight to the town. I don't know, on the speeder, like that could have been the climax of it, like fighting off the sand people, and that could have been a fantastic miniseries, and we could have had a moment where they were in really deep jeopardy, where Obi-Wan goes up to Owen Lars and it's just you'll. Luke is going to need to pitch in helping fighting the Tuskens when they attack again. He needs this lightsaber. And, Uncle Owen could have been like, absolutely not. My son's not going to fight. And that could have been but your uncle wouldn't hear of it. You know, like, I wanted to give this to you years ago. Like, we could have explained that away. Everything we needed for a good Obi-Wan show was there, and what we got the message instead.
This is why I don't really give a shit about most prequels anyway. When I watched the original Star Wars, the very first Star Wars movie, that's just called Star Wars, not A New Hope, because it doesn't have all this weird CGI dinosaurs. You kind of get the idea anyway, you know, just by the way they talk to each other, the characters describe each other. Like, we didn't need to see how Han Solo met Chewbacca. You got the relationship straight away by the way they act towards each other. I mean, the first one, you kind of get the idea with the backstory and everything, you know, because that's what a good film's supposed to do, you know, like find a way to give you a load of exposition without it feeling like exposition.
I agree. Han and Chewie come off really organic, and what did George Lucas say?
It's a guy and his dog.
Yeah. Yeah, it's his dog, what is it? Indiana.
Yeah. Well, that comes up a couple of times in George Lucas's writing. You know,
We named our dog Indiana.
Oh my God, Mr. House Party 6. Sir!
Squirrel.
Mr. House Party 6, sir. Sir, squirrel. Squirrel, Trebek. It's something I would do with your mother.
I got my
Thank you.
My squirrel.
Yeah, you know, that's we have to see. We'll have the imitation contest. I have imitated several Europeans. Let's hear your American. Let's hear like an Batman from Northern English Bastard for my friend Mr. House Party 6. Can you give him an Batman, your best American?
Wait a minute. My internet's conking out. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought my internet was going. Yeah, Batman.
Oh, okay. I'll repeat. Yeah. So for fun, if you want, in your best American, give us your Michael Keaton. I'm Batman.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am flying rat man. Fuck. I had this. Damn it.
Perfect. I love it. Who's your favorite Batman?
Yeah, it is Michael Keaton. Live action, Michael Keaton, but for me, the best Batman is still Kevin Conroy. I know everyone says it, but he gets it right. He makes it his own, but at the same time, he manages to get it faithful to the comics as well. Michael Keaton is a little bit different to the comics. Is a little bit more socially isolated. Is a little bit more reclusive, but he's kind of charming without realizing he's charming.
He's much more charming than the Nolan Bruce Wayne, where he's kind of a dick. A weird dick.
I don't like Christian Bale. I mean, because he does get a lot right about the character. I just think there's times where it's just, as soon as he has the dumb voice, it kind of takes away the intimidation factor. And Batman has to be intimidating. He's a guy.
I like this.
Yeah.
I think the part that we could have sold it better is if we could have had a part where Bruce Wayne started yelling at his mother and sister and got arrested by the Gotham police. You know.
Yeah.
What a strange guy. He is a good actor, though. I gotta say, my favorite live-action Batman is Keaton as well. There's a lot of space in my heart for Adam West, even though I know that wasn't the best thing for the whole Batman thing.
Yeah, because he's playing it straight, isn't he? He's playing the part so dead straight, despite the fact it's goofy as hell. And Adam West, he knew what he was getting into. That's why he's so good in it.
It's very much like Airplane that way, and ahead of its time in that sense, because 11 years later, they do the same sort of humor, and it works again in a way that it wouldn't have worked if they had kept pouring it on. Like, people weren't ready for that for more than a few years, but that show was great. I will say, Kevin Conroy got the best stories. That Batman animated series was just... Mask of the Phantasm has a shot of being the best Batman movie. I mean, we could have a serious conversation about it. You know,
I think it is still one of the best Batman movies. I mean, animated and all, it gets everything right. It's not just borrowing from the comics and the Tim Burton movies. It's borrowing from Adam West as well. I mean, you've got these like great, weird sort of like grand mechanical traps that are almost trying to kill Batman. That is Adam West. But it's done in a much more darker way.
I'm gonna say, do you have like a most underappreciated Batman? Because I'm gonna say right now, it's poor Batfleck. Never gets to be in a good movie.
Yeah,
Plays the strangest, most vengeful Batman.
and I think he was well cast, but the writing there really didn't do him justice. But I don't like the fact he is a bit more darker. But yeah, Zack Snyder, he just couldn't help himself. He thinks he thought of Batman as a fucking Punisher, which is not his character. I don't mind Batman.
The Punisher didn't have that kind of bloodlust. And by the way, thank you, Mr. House Party 6. The Batman breakdown is dedicated to you. Thank you, sir. Sir, there is nothing controversial about supporting the channel, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think I might have 2 Star Trek videos coming out next week. Let's see if we have any questions from our friends here. Thank you. Yeah, well, you know what? It took me a while to get it right. I might re-release the earlier ones because I think season 1 of Enterprise might be the hottest. But if I can get the show, what I do is something similar to what Drinker does. I take a highlight of my live show and I edit it, but what I do is I put the video essay on top of it. So while everyone discusses what they like about that week's episode of Enterprise, you'll see it. It's like, I really thought that the shuttle was a great prop, and when it launches, that is pretty cool. When it deploys its weapons array, and like, so I'll be able to show that. And that's been kind of a cool way to extend the Star Trek conversation and get a second bang out of the conversations. So the ones that I've gotten down, the ones that are like a half hour or less, like the last 8 or 9 would be the ones I'd say where I finally got my style together. I've really, there's been more than 1 or 2 times where I've had a stylistic question where I've gone and watched 2 or 3 Drinker videos in a row to answer it and seen what he does. Because I consider that one the standard. Have you ever considered making extensive video essays? You do some editing for the live shows that we do, but have you considered going there with a video essay?
I have considering it, but I always think, maybe I should leave it to the more smart people and just stick to talking about movies. I think the closest thing I've had to like video essays was the actual strong, stunning women in movies with Sarah Connor, and I even had Rapunzel in Tangled because I thought, after watching that with a wife, I thought to myself, okay, this is a very good, strong female character. She's very feminine, she's very fragile, she's very vulnerable, but she's also very resourceful and very smart and tactical when she needs to be. And it doesn't feel, forced either. It feels right for a character. We're given plenty of little moments that, that set up how she ends up becoming pretty kick-ass in situations that she's very new to. So I want to do more essays on that. I do kind of want to talk about, little moments in movies and why. Like, ever seen that movie, The Hit, with Terrence Stamp and John Hurt?
No, I haven't seen that movie, but both of those actors are pretty good.
Yeah, it's really fucking underrated. And after watching the ending, I was kind of wondering, okay, after this conversation John Hurt has with Terrence Stamp about, why isn't he scared that I'm taking you to your boss to execute you? And he gives his reasons why, and you can tell this is sort of sparked why John Hurt has decided to disobey his boss's orders. And I want to go a little bit more into that because without any explanation whatsoever, you can go into many different theories to why he chooses to make that decision. Because something that Terrence Stamp has said to him has made an impression on him and has sparked a thought.
You know what? I think that you should consider maybe diving in there because when you do your movie deconstruction rants, if they had a video component, they could really go viral. You have a great point of view, and you're a good reviewer, and you do great breakdowns. I found Vegas works pretty good, and as long as I keep my video bites to 4.7 seconds or less, I'm okay. So far, so good with that one. So I would consider it, but what's your plan from here on as we get ready to wrap up? Like for the next 1,000, what are you going to do aside from keep on doing what you're doing? Anything on the horizon?
Well, apart from some Halloween videos, I am going to be doing a list video because last year I did my top 10 scary bastards. Movie characters that to me are scary. I always consider scary, and I'm going to be doing another 10 more. Because these are like the 10 more I didn't really get a chance to put in the list, and I do want to talk about them as well. It's like trying to go through why these characters are so downright disturbing and why they make their impression on you.
All right. If you could recommend one thing before I let you go to everybody, what's going on in the next few months as far as entertainment where people need to maybe check it out? Mine is I'm telling everybody, don't miss Landman. Don't miss your chance.
Yeah, I
to
want
see
to watch
Landman.
Landman series 2. I want to see where it goes. I hope Tulsa King season 3 is a little better than season 2. I like season 2. I just thought it suffered from way too many villains, way too many sort of like opposing villains to go against. It kind of felt like, a little bit convoluted. For lack
How
of a
much
better.
Taylor Sheridan is in Tulsa King? Did he create that one and then just let it loose?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how much input he has on it because he's just had a shitload of shows just all get released at once. He's had Landman, 1883, 1923. I think he's had Basin Reeves as well recently.
Before I let you go, I have to talk to someone else who watched it. What was your feeling about how they ended Landman? As we thank RRTNZ, The Hit is a great film, and he says, "We'll meet again." Is that the Vera Lynn song? Is that in the movie?
Yeah, it is. It's right at the beginning where he rats on his former friends in the past, and they all start singing "We'll Meet Again" because that's what's basically about. It's about a grasser whose former mob buddies catch up with him as well, and transport him to his boss, ready to kill him.
You know, I'm a little bit ashamed to say this, but I know what it's like to be really afraid when hearing "We'll Meet Again," because I didn't know what to expect when I went to see Roger Waters perform live. But his show starts out with the sound of like distant gunfire, an air raid siren, and Vera Lynn's "We'll Meet Again," and then he's just like an explosion, and there's the most crazy, controversial person this side of Ozzy Osbourne. And by the way, my condolences on the death of your 3-time Prime Minister, Mr. Osborne. I understand that he was the leader your country needed.
Yes, Ozzy Osbourne.
What a loss, huh?
We
No
needed
shit.
Prince of Darkness. He was the only Prince of Darkness who would have brought us out into the light.
He really would have. So, what's on your calendar coming up as we get ready to wrap? Because I know by you, it's getting close to, is it midnight or 11? So we don't want, with the metric time difference, and you know, those Brits with their metric time, we'll show you guys when we return you to Imperial units. But, you know, we'll get that time difference fixed when we're all on Earthican time. But tell us what you got going on in the future. What's the next couple of things you're doing? And
next week definitely in May is the start of my Halloween videos with Coraline because it's a really good creepy kids film and I think it deserves to be reviewed, even though I think it's already gets enough praise. But fuck it, I like that movie anyway, and I'm going to try and see if I can catch a few movies to review. I think Relay's out at the moment. I want to check that out. I've been recommended it, but I don't know if The Smashing Machine is out in England yet, and I want to check that out. It could be the film that gives The Rock some kind of legacy out of all the crap he's been releasing recently.
It feels like it would be a little too easy for him to get redemption this quick after being so difficult to like for so long. Don't you kind of want the first couple of tries to whiff and like have him earn his redemption film? It's like after 3 tries of supplicating himself to make up for being an insufferable dick for 35 years, The Rock finally pulled it off with this redemptive tale.
Yeah, but also I like a good sports movie. They always kind of get me emotionally. Plus, we've got Sydney Sweeney with Christie, and I don't know when that's out. I don't know if it's out next week or the week after, but I'm trying to look to see if there's anything good that's coming out soon I can review for next week.
I think she's going to be good in Christie, but I think that like she's not going to be allowed to look sexy or like herself. I saw how they had her appearing in character. I saw what the character looked like. They made her look like Christy Martin, who looks nothing like Sydney Sweeney. And I'm not saying that Christy Martin's real ugly, but this is like a monster kind of role for Sydney Sweeney. She's going to be unrecognizable again, and it's an unfortunate trend of one movie where she's allowed to look like herself and one movie where they heavily disguise her, like this or Madam Web, where she's Sydney Sweeney. It's just, it's so weird. Bad time for good-looking people. Does she have Henry Cavill disorder?
No idea, to be honest. Actually, saying the initial release is 5th of September, but I have not seen it anywhere. So have a look. Christie, Odeon. It might be released in America, but I don't know if it's released in England just yet. Let's see.
Coraline is a great book and film, but be cautious. Neil Gaiman is well and truly canceled. You might get flack from YouTube.
Yeah, I kind of forgot it was
know.
Neil Gaiman, but that's the thing. Yeah, I'm still going to review these like great movies, despite the fact that the authors are probably assholes. I mean, I'm probably still going to do like bastards breakdowns of a Stephen King movie. In fact, I might actually put Christine on as well because I think it's a very underrated movie.
I had 64 Dodge Demon. I had a red 64 Dodge Demon. It was very close to the same car. I loved the Chrysler cars, the American cars from that period. That's a pretty good movie. Not that like Stephen King, his best movie is the one that Stanley Kubrick does, The Shining, where he massively changes it. And if Stephen King was so upset, why did he steal the Indian burial ground and the maze for his next book? Like he clearly knew that it had been improved, and I think my criticism yesterday was he doesn't have a movie that holds up to cell phones working, does he? He has to take out all of society now to have his movies work. Working cell phones.
Yeah, no, it's a shame because I know it's like I don't think Stephen King seems to realize that movies and books are a different medium. You know, just because it works in the book doesn't mean it's going to work on film. So, because he did do a faithful, TV miniseries on The Shining, and yeah, it bombed. People hated it.
It wasn't as exciting. In the Shining book, the Scatman Crothers character survives. There's a different fate. There's no hedge maze. Stanley Kubrick massively improves that story. He made it into a movie. I think The Shining book is probably a darn good book, but there's no way to improve that movie. It's a really good movie with all of Stanley Kubrick's craziness in it too, like the moon landing conspiracy stuff. That definitely
it's very
gets
mysterious
proven.
as well. There's a lot of ambiguity as well. That's why I like The Shining, because you can just talk to people about it and try and guess what the fucking ending was all about. Was it to do with some kind of Native American genocide, or it's them getting their
There's
revenge?
only
Hell, purgatory, whatever.
I think it all comes down to this. There's only one moment that can't be explained by tripping out and hallucination, and that is this. Jeevesy lets him out of the freezer. He couldn't have gotten out of the freezer unless there were ghosts of some kind. So I don't know if it was so much the burial ground or the fact that they were celebrating the culture that destroyed the people who had been there. And so the spirits came back to wreak vengeance when they were at their most powerful moment. For whatever reason it happens to be when people it's not strong enough to mass control everyone at the hotel to start killing each other. But not only were the people who lived there exterminated in an evil way by the craziest bunch of American cavalry soldiers ever who didn't need to go as far as they went, but then the land gets further desecrated by a decadent place where it's very much like Eyes Wide Shut going on there. Seems to be what happened. So they intensify it into just a magnet of and portal for and gateway to evil is my the only way I can interpret the Shining and what is going on at the Overlook Hotel. You want to take a crack at it before we wrap up?
Yeah, I kind of think it was kind of like some kind of like there is some kind of purgatory in a way as well. Like soon as he failed to kill his kids, he was now in that kind of hell with all these all these other people. In a way, it's like kind of hell is seeping through the hotel. That's my little theory.
Was he meant to be there because he had been there before, or was he turned into someone who had been there before because it overrode the personality of the weak, drunk child abuser that he is when he gets there?
Yeah, it probably is. Maybe someone set his sights on him and thought, okay, this is a potential target for to do our little thing here. So I think it's obviously some curse as well that always goes back to someone killing their kids.
It's so weird too because when he's got to go there to get this life-changing job where he'll have time to write the life-changing novel. And even if the novel doesn't work out, like the 7-8 months of employment stability is going to make life a lot easier in the Torrance home after he beat up their kid while he was drunk. And we know he hasn't been too nice to Wendy either. And, what is he doing at his job interview but reading pornography while he's waiting for his boss? What a weird guy, right? He's reading Playgirl. It's not even the right kind of porn.
Yeah, you know straight away something's off about Jack Torrance. While in the book and the miniseries, yeah, he was a good guy who slowly descends into a madman. But I do like the fact that there was already a bad side to him as well. And he's probably trying to be a good guy, but the hotel just brings it out,
He walks there a little too empty and a little too morally adrift and with a little too much of a problem with the demon alcohol that he's invited in. So then the other demons of the Overlook Hotel can overcome and destroy him because the Scatman Crothers character's like, we've had a couple of caretakers go nuts and kill their family. We just don't like to tell people about it at the interview. He knows exactly what to do. And his little talk with Bobby about The Shining and stuff like that, that's incredible.
Yeah, I think that's where it goes back to the butler as well, saying, I have always been here. You've always been here, because they are both kindred spirits. They are both people who have somehow seen killing their family as a what's the term anyway? Something that they had to do.
Fated, destiny, inescapable. Yeah. Hello, DJ Playdice. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like all these characters fall into OCD, and we've been told there's no liquor in the hotel, and he hasn't brought any with him. So what's he drinking? What's going on with the whole thing?
It's like have they come back from hell with alcohol just to tempt him? It's like, the fact that he's accepted means, yeah, we have you now. But there is so much going on in that movie as well. There's no definite answers, and I don't want definite answers. I like that mystery. I like not knowing. I like how people might have another view that I won't agree on, but they kind of have come to some kind of logical conclusion to that opinion.
All right. Yeah, I agree. And we had a good example of therefore and because of filmmaking in The Shining, as opposed to this happens, then this happens, then this happens. And we said this yesterday when we celebrated 1K for you. When Stephen King was just an author who put his books out there and charged money for his words, people couldn't get their hands on them and were lined up around the block to spend their money on it. But when he gave his words away for free on social media, people couldn't get away from them fast enough. Isn't it crazy how that happened to him?
It is, yeah. It's like this is kind of a good example where sometimes you just got to think about all the stories you do and forget all about all the politics and that. And even though I do listen to my politics a little bit, it just kind of, you're just isolating people who could make your living, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's funny. I wanted to do entertainment, Hollywood, and plot and movies and reviews so that I wouldn't be a political YouTuber. I judged political YouTubing to be too stigmatizing. And while this isn't as bad as that, it's amazing how politics is like, they say politics is downstream of culture. I think politics and culture now cohabitate and have the same filthy part of the river together, honestly. What do you think of that?
I know, it's not just libtard fucking entertainment as well. Even guys like the Daily Wire have been trying to do their own stuff, and it's shit.
Yeah, and also just having a philosophy doesn't give you a perfect clean slate to have an opinion. There's plenty of people who on the right who we might agree with most of what they say, who are just and then we got to get rid of all the video games because they're immoral and satanistic, and then our jaws drop. But otherwise everything, so no one philosophy is going to make it perfect. But certainly, I guess a huge dose of pragmatism, and maybe we see a correction where we have more traditional movies, because we've had an over-representation of this weirdness. If you want good, amazing reviews from a point of view, up here on the screen you see Northern English Bastard. He can't really tell you what he is. He's Northern English Beastard, but we know what he is. He's you bastard. Thanks for coming on my show. And
pleasure, man. Been a pleasure.
I hope all the people who see this will consider subscribing to him. I have recommended this channel for a while. And damn, when do we do Red Dwarf?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh my
man.
God, I gotta watch it. How
Yeah,
many
I'll
of the?
send you the schedule anyway, so you can get a proper fix on the time. So yeah,
Which episodes do I have to watch? I'm pretty familiar with the first 20.
it's just a whole of one season one. We're gonna have a nice little maybe a couple
Your
of hours.
seasons are short, so it's we're talking 12 episodes or less, maybe 8, right?
6 episodes. So you're only
That was a great
hour.
show. I've seen the first 6 episodes. I have no problem putting my like 2 hours into watching all 6 of them again. They're great. It's a fun show.
You can binge out one series very quickly because they're on for like 25, 30 minutes, and even though the first season is still a little bit rudimentary compared to the others, it is still a very good start. You know, it's just getting to know these characters first before they start throwing in the more creative storylines.
I think we both agree with Mr. E here. Yeah, the celebrities should do their jobs.
Yeah.
Minimal opinionating. You're allowed to have feelings. Like, it doesn't bother me that Han Solo makes voices ads for a political action group that he believes in. It bothers me that Mark Hamill won't shut up about his beliefs. There's a way to go about your life without being overly overbearing, right? I think we kind of says it right there, perhaps.
Yeah, we need to bring back guys like James Woods though again, because he's
still out there.
I know, and it's very shame he's been blacklisted just because he has a different view. But celebrities need to be more like Kurt Russell. I mean, he's done a couple of he's voiced his opinions a couple of times, but he's always kind of been very neutral. I mean, I don't think he's a conservative or liberal. He's just a guy who's
pragmatist.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I guess that brings us to the end of another one. I want to thank all of my channel members and subs and everyone who's here for the first time. Thank you so very much. Thank you for your time. What a wonderful gift to give us your time. We hope we were entertaining to you. My friend Northern English Bastard's a blast. I'll be on with him tomorrow talking Red Dwarf. You can catch him then. And hey, Stark of Iron, hello to you, sir, as we get ready to give you beautiful Sydney Sweeney. And you know what? I don't think you'll mind the outro to my show, Northern English. You know her, you love her. I have a little video. Yeah. Let's bring her on. Here she is for your viewing pleasure. Check out Northern English Bastard. You'll be back, right?
Yeah, I'll be back.
Cool. I'll be back. All right, bye guys.